How's it going, guys? This is Crops, aka Beast, and I'm coming at you all with a Chaos Control deck profile. A little more meta than the usual deck profiles. I took this to a Patreon from goatformy.com last Saturday, and it was 6 rounds of Swiss, followed by Top Cut, and we lost on the bubble. But that aside, we're just gonna go in the deck profile because people seem to like the spice. A lot of one-ofs. So hopping in, this is the standard right here though. You know, BLS, 2 Sorks. I mean, I don't like 3 Sorks. It can be bricky. Pretty standard for Chaos Control to have a lineup of the 3 Chaos. Then, this is also pretty standard nowadays. 3 TDs, because you get your lights, you get your discard fodder. That's pretty nice. Only 2 Moths. You know, if it gets knocked, it doesn't hurt you as much. I have thought of 3, but I decided on just 2 because there's a lot of, like I said, one-ofs, a lot of variants in this deck. So, besides the Faiths, you have DD Warrior Lady, a nice one-of. Kaiku, a nice one-of. It's like some more aggro one-ofs. Sook, you know, you are 1,000 eyes, so loops with that. Loops with some of the flips. Not too many flips. Also helps with the warrior matchup if you don't have too many of those. Of course, unless you were on spies. But because we're on goats, I decided not to go with spies. Mimic, aka Dark Simulation, level 1 and level 3. It didn't happen, but sometimes you can upgrade this into this. And if that does happen, like if I attack into it with Sangan, you get draw off this, standby phase, you level up to this. If this dies by battle, when it's leveled up, you pot a greed, you draw 2. If not, you draw 1, which is still good. It basically, if they attack over Blade Knight, you still draw. So it has its uses there. We like the box. We like the treasure chest. Another one of Reaper. Also good against more aggro strategies. You get the occasional discard from hand with the 300 poke, and then Tomato. So just 1 Tomato. It lets you float into Mimic. So that's another way to get the 1 to 3. You can float into it with Tomato. You can float into Reaper, or where you usually float into, of course, Sangan. This is just a better way to get to the Serpent, which is insane. You know, just the recursion helps with the discard, helps with Metamorphosis. Then 2 more power one-ofs, right? Breaker Tribe, pretty standard in almost every goat deck. Things like Reasoning Gate, usually don't play them, but that's it. I think it's 19 monsters. Spells, I mean, I don't need to explain this. Then we got 2 Upstarts, so we're trying to draw into our power cards early. Upstart gets you there quicker. Usually, you know, Turbo is always on 2 of these. Even though it's more of a control variant, so I understand people not wanting to play this in the deck, but I do like seeing Trinity faster. We do like seeing Metamorphosis with our level 1s, or different levels, just options for the fusion deck. But also pretty standard, these 3, Heavy, MST, Snatch. Don't need to explain those too much, I don't think either. 2 books. I decided, don't really want to go triple. I think 2 is fine. It's decent against warriors, like when you go first, you can like set a flip, book their blade, use your flip effect, either like meta it or have one of your beaters, like your Kaiku, your DD, attack over their blade, and you kind of get tempo that way if they don't have a battle trap. Also with the 2 books, 2 knocks. Turbo is very popular, so it helps to just be able to knock those flips. And of course the Sook and book knock combo can always come up. Just 2 goats. We are on Tomato, and we do not want to have too much that conflicts with that. You know, there are people who go with Spy and Scapegoat, and it's just a matter of knowing when to use which one. You don't want to set Spy and Goat most likely, that's just, you know, going to conflict. But I opted against the Spy just for this particular build. Only 2 metas before the comment section goes crazy. I only bricked on meta once, and it was 2 of them. I drew both of them and I bricked on it. I know 3 is usually really good. I think it was Del Bolito or something who decided to play 2 instead of 3, and he said it worked well, so I just wanted to try it out. And honestly, it wasn't that bad, especially when you have other aggro cards besides just the Chaos and the 1,000 Eyes to rely on. That's it for the spells. Good amount of spells, you know, it does put those faiths to work. Very small trap lineup, so these 3, the Trap Trinity, right? Don't need to explain these too much. And then the final trap I went with was 2 Regeki Break. Burn is kind of a tough matchup, so it is helpful in that regard. Wind Blast, I think, is probably best with like Wind Blast. I think I said Wind Blast. Wind Blast is best with probably like Judgment or things that set them back more. But I went with Breaks just to get rid of the problem. Also, when you're playing goats, Ashura Priest and Spirit Monsters can be an issue. So it's nice to destroy them instead of top deck them. I don't want to top deck an Ashura Priest or a Sook. I'd rather just get it out of the way. So you could try Wind Blast, but I think Regeki Breaks better in these kind of decks. That's it for the main. 40 cards. Second Kaiku, again, mostly turbo. It's pretty much what you're putting that in it against. Second Sook, more so warrior or like other control decks. Good to be able to counter Thousand Eyes. And we have our own Ashura, also for, again, like the Mirror or Soul Control. Another tricky matchup at times. These two work really well against those matchups. And then we do have one Midoriya, another tomato target, and Warriors. Those are pretty dang good against Warrior. It's hard for them to deal with something that, Blade Knight. The only time is if you set it, then they have like level 2. Or they'd have to like DD Warrior Lady it, to get over it, so without it popping something. We also have the Berserk Gorilla, we gotta have the profile of the channel in the deck. No, also Warrior though, really good against Warrior and aggro matchups. So, Mobius, mostly for burn. You could put it in against Warrior maybe, or the Mirror with Decree, but we don't have that many traps anyway, so I don't think you worry too much about that. It's more so burn is a problem, so that's almost always what that there is for, unless you smokescreen into some other traps on the side here. But one Karibo, it's not that bad. It actually helped me survive against Reasoning Gate one match, and then come back the next turn, which is what it's supposed to do. Because one battle it fades, especially like Master of Oz Steino TK, which has been going around. If they make it 8400 plus Master of Oz, you're like, okay. And if you have this, you live pretty much always. And it's also level 1 Dark Fiend. The Fiend doesn't matter, but level 1 Dark, still a meta target, funny enough, for Thousand Eyes. And in fact, it's a Dark for Chaos, so kind of nice synergy. Probably be better if it was light, but we take what we get. The one Minecon, pretty much for turbo or flip heavy decks. The one Swap, a lot of 1-ups on the side. And then Warriors, mostly Warriors, because you got, goats, floaters, that kind of thing. Swords, it was a timed event. This card is amazing in time. I actually think it won me a game in time before. I won't get into that right now, but basically just also for Warrior more aggro matchups, it's really solid. Soul Release, this card was so good, all event. Turbo, I think I faced against like 2 or 3 Turbo / Chaos players, and just being able to banish the spells and their monsters, just shut them down. I don't know, it was really good. I don't know if I'd go up more than 1, but Token Thanksgiving, also really good. I won a game because of this. I heavied, they chained goats, and then I just summoned, I had a monster on field, I summoned a Chaos, summoned another one, Token Thanksgiving, gained 3200 life, and it killed him. So, really, burn and the Mirror, or decks that play goat, Reasoning Gate, Stein Gate, anything like that. Again, I don't know if I'd put any of these up to queue, but those are really good cards. Then, boom, 3 Decree, so we can go live up to the name Chaos Control. Mostly for Warrior. Chaos Turbo, you can also put it against, they have Judgments and Wind Blast and stuff. But that's the deck profile for the main and the side. Again, we lost on the bubble, but, and then the Fusion deck, you got your goats, standard babysitter goat token. You can use whatever goat tokens you want. You got Thousand Eyes, Bolter, Fiend Skull, Reaper, Ryu Senshi. Okay, one last thing I'll mention about the tourney. There was a time where I decided to make Darkblade and Flex when I could have made Ryu Senshi, and I ended up losing because of that. Most likely. I likely would have won if I made this, but I went to this and lost, and it was round 6. It was the time I lost the level, so that was my fault. King, Robos, Dark Flare, King Dragoon, Last Warriors, Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon, Gatling Dragon, Master of Oz, and then all these aren't as relevant, different attributes and stuff. Roaring Ocean Snake if you want to play around tribes, blah, blah, blah. That is the Fusion deck, and that's going to be it for this deck profile. Don't forget about the GOAT Grand Prix Fort Worth. That'll be June 11th next month. I'll have a link in the description to the event, as well as the ability to pre-register. But until next time, this is Craps, aka V Speeds, part of Team Rod, and we're signing out.